Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench for another episode of Old School RC. Now, as I'm filming this right now, I'm still not even sure what I'm going to title this. All I can say is this is probably one of the most spectacular editions of Old School RC, maybe one of the most spectacular videos I've ever made, in my opinion. And it's featuring an airplane kit, a very old airplane kit. It's actually a 48-year-old airplane kit. And I've had a lot of airplane kits in my day, and I've built a lot of airplanes. And this one is one that is really special, and it really kind of stirs my soul in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to go and build this airplane, because quite honestly, I'm not even sure if my skill level is up to building this airplane. And when it was offered to me for the amazing price that I got it for, I was like, I'm just instantly going to flip this thing, because this can go for some bigger money than what I paid. Well, once it arrived and I opened it up and looked at it, I'm like, wow, I don't even know if I can do that. But it's still on the table. So, enough of that. Let's go to the table and another camera angle. And showing an airplane kit on video is really a challenging thing, because I'm pretty darn sure that I'm not going to be able to do this justice in any way at all in my small space with the cameras I've got, because the kit it's a big kit. Well, airplane kits are big anyway. They're just difficult to film and really show the details, but I'm going to do the best I can, because one of the most incredible things about this kit is the plans, and I really haven't quite figured out, as I'm sitting here speaking to you, I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to try to show you the plans, because they're really a work of art. So with all of that said, let's change views and I'll show you this kit. Okay, so here it is, and like I said, I'm going to do the very best I can to display this to the best of my ability. But those of you that have been in the hobby for a long time will recognize this name if you can see it at the edge of the frame, Royal Quality Kits. Now, Royal kits were known for being very scale. In fact, the scale ratio of this is shown here as 1.1 3/4 inches to 1 inch. To 1 foot, I'm sorry, 1 3/4 inches to 1 foot. So Royal used to really make some super scale planes, and they weren't so out of scale like so many more modern kits were that enabled them to fly better. So, and that was one of the reasons why when I was in the early end of the hobby and people would say, oh, these are super scale kits and they're challenging to build and they're challenging to fly. That's one of the reasons why at that time I stayed away from Royal kits. Not because they weren't cool, because believe me, they had some incredibly cool kits, and this is one of them. But because of the fact that if you're going to make a scale kit, it just isn't going to fly. It's going to fly scale, which means it's not going to be a trainer. So enough of that said. Here's the box. Now, this box came to me. I came in contact with a fellow that sold this to me through a good friend and subscriber, Mike. And Mike has provided me with a lot of gift engines and boxes and stuff over the years. And he sent me the name of this fellow, Al, who has a whole bunch of older kits and engines that he's looking to get rid of. And this one he offered to me. And I said, well, what do you want for it? And he told me, and my jaw hit the floor, and I said, I'll take it. Now, of course, all of you know that shipping airplane kits is not inexpensive at all. So I think it was $30 to ship it. So I paid whatever I paid plus $30. And I'm thinking, well, I can still flip this thing and make a little profit. But as I said in the intro, after looking at this, I just don't know if I can part with it, really. So here's the kit box. Here it says engine size. It just says 60 to 80. Now, I can only assume, maybe they'll explain that more in the manual, which is interesting in and of itself also. Maybe they mean only 2-stroke or only 4-stroke. I'm sure it's probably, because of the age of this kit, 1977, it's probably 2-stroke. So they're talking 60 to 80 size 2-stroke engines. Well, I'm not even sure of too many 80 size 2-strokes from that era, honestly. And there were plenty of 60s. Okay, so the wingspan of this is this is the Beechcraft Staggerwing D17. So the wingspan is 56 inches. That sounds like a really normal, you know, 40 size, typically a 40 size. Well, I guess for a biplane it would be more of a 60 size kit. Fuselage length 45 and 5/8 inches. Wing area 907 square inches. I'm not sure, I haven't figured out, I don't know what the weight of this would be, but you could figure out the wing loading. I have a funny feeling that the wing loading in this kit would probably border around the 32 ounces per square foot, which would make it really challenging. So I'm going to do the best I can to just open this up here and show you some of these things that are in here. So the first thing that we see here is the plans are folded. And like I said, I don't know how I'm going to show you some of this, but I'm going to do the best I can to just open up a little portion of it so that you can hopefully see some of this. And I don't know, maybe what I'll have to do is lay these out on the floor and take images of them, high-res images. Now the plants themselves feel like they're in fairly good shape. They don't feel like they're dried or anything. But the thing that's incredible about the plans here is that so much of the instructions are actually on the plan themselves. And of course this kit is designed for retractable landing gear, and it's got a full 3-view drawing here. These are really just, they're not super fragile, but I really just don't feel comfortable playing with the plans too much, because what I think I'm going to do is I think I want to take them to FedEx Pack and Ship and see if I can see if their plotter is big enough to fit this, because I think I measured these at about 58 inches by 38 inches. And I want to see if I can make a couple of sets of this just to keep them. Because one of the things that I would do in the old days when I was building kits is I would always put the plans up on my wall before I even started the kit, and then I would study them for weeks. I'd sit there and start, and these were easy kits too, so, but I'd study them for a long time and know everything about the plan that I could before, or the plane that I could, and the building techniques that I could before I actually started building it. So that's what I would do, and then I would dive into it. So here we go. Now we probably have something that you can actually see on this one camera angle here, and that is the instructions. Royal Products Beach D17. So this is the instruction manual. Then I'm just going to flip through here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. It's just a single staple. I would really like to, you know, take that staple out, possibly, except I don't own a stapler to restaple it, and make a PDF of this. I will do that somehow, but so construction introduction, it talks about the actual full-scale airplane, wing construction. So it gives you tips and tricks like add F26 and F24 pieces, glue F19 nose ring pieces in place, fit F32, F33 assembly to rear fuse. So it's telling you specifically what to do, but if you encounter issues, I'm not really sure. So there's a lot of words here, and then there's a lot of words on the plans also, and it's incredible. So I'm looking to see if there's anything here that talks about the engine placement and stuff like that, or if Royal just pretty much lets you figure that out on your own. The finish work. Okay, so this is funny. If you plan to monocoat, and they've got monocoat in quotes, your eyeball scale, it is done at the stage on bare wood in accordance with the directions furnished with the monocoat. After it's all monocoated, go to the final assembly step. If you plan an ultimate scale job finish, you must paint it because no real airplanes are monocoated. So I haven't seen anything here that talks about the engine. Balance and flight. Yeah, so I didn't just see anything here about engines, recommended engines or anything. So that is an interesting thing. So let's go on here. So one of the things that I thought was most incredible about this, and I know the lighting is kind of weird here and it's kind of dark, because in this camera angle, it just didn't look right. But here's the bag of parts, and it looks to me, I'm not going to take all of this stuff out, but everything is bagged and still sealed. I'm assuming this is a complete kit, but every single part has a stamp on it, has a marking on it. S2, every single part, every stick I've seen, W16, which I think is pretty incredible. Let's see if even this small one here has something on it. Now this small one here does not. So I would say that maybe just the most critical things do. But this whole bag of cut parts all has numbers on them. W14, R11. So I mean, here is the fixed landing gear. Hardware bag, we've seen that. One of the most incredible things about this is that it has a spun aluminum cowling. So, and that's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely spectacular. I don't know if this is about the size of a modern 2-liter bottle. I don't think it is. It looks like it's a little bit bigger. But, I mean, there's some weight to this, which is fine because the wing loading on this, or the center of gravity on this is pretty far forward. So you need a pretty big, but I mean, what do you do? I mean, do you actually try to cut holes in this thick aluminum? I mean, that's just incredible. So the next most incredible thing is a little bit of provenance. And so in that cowling, there was this little newspaper ad as part of the packing material, just to keep things safe. Now, Royal products were made in Denver, Colorado, I believe is what it says here. Right here, Royal products, Denver, Colorado, made in Japan. So Royal products, maybe they're just marketed and sold through Denver, and they're actually made in Japan, or at least kitted in Denver. So here's a handy Dan, and I guess it's maybe a hardware store or something. Handy Dan do-it-yourself home improvement centers. And this says here, and I've got a picture of it I can put up too if this isn't visible. Prices effective through Sunday, March 6th, 1977. Now, you can't tell me that an airplane kit packing company is going to keep 20-year-old newspaper on hand. They're not. They're going to be using newspaper that's current. So that's where I'm getting my information as far as W8. Look at the cutting here. This is just totally incredible. You can't tell me that they're just going to keep old newspapers. So that's where I'm getting my information from as far as the age of this kit and how incredible it is. So to me, I don't know that there's a, and the kit also, or this plans also show the inventory. So one of the sheets, I had both of these plan sheets open just to make sure they weren't, crumbling and going to get destroyed if I handled them. I put them out on my kitchen table, and the kitchen table, a little round kitchen table I've got, isn't even big enough for them. But I put them out there, and there's all the die cutting information is contained on the plans themselves instead of being in the book like, modern Great Plains books. I'm still looking to see here just real quick to see if there is anything about any kind of suggested engines. It doesn't appear to me that, there's not. It doesn't appear to me that in this hardware package, I don't see another hardware package in here. It doesn't appear that they've included any kind of an engine mount. So, I don't know a whole lot about Royal kits. All I can say is this one is incredibly impressive. And it's just something for nostalgia. Like I said, my plan initially was to flip this thing and sell it, but now for me to sell this thing, it's going to have to go to the right person and the right price. because this is rare and very, very special. So that was the best I can do at trying to show you this incredible kit from 48 years ago. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope I can figure out a way to get images of these plans, and hopefully that the FedEx place can actually, you know, cut me a new set of plans, one or two of them, because honestly they're just a complete work of art. They're incredibly beautiful. So that's the video for today. Thank you all for watching.